to the broadcast of the Enid City Commission from the council chambers in the administration building on West Garriott.
That your will be done. We ask for peace here, only the peace that you can give. Father God, you promised us that if we would pray and repent, you would heal our land. We're asking for healing for the city of Enid tonight. Heal us, Lord, so that we can be the welcoming city, the inclusive city, the prosperous city. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, consider approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April the 1st, 2014, and special meeting of April the 3rd, 2014.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Mike, second by Rodney. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Under item 5, awards, presentations, and organizational business. Item 5.1, present the pet available for adoption at the city animal shelter.
How's it going, everybody? My name is William Breeze. I work for Enid Animal Control, and this is PJ. She's one of our many dogs and cats we have out there for adoption. We have one for everybody, so we just really appreciate it if you come out and look and give one a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5.2, we have a proclamation for Arbor Day. And at 5.3, we'll have a proclamation for the Fair Housing Month. Steve?
Mayor, join us, please. It's always a tough act to follow puppy dogs, right? Mayor, thank you for coming down. We have 2 signed proclamations for this evening, and commissioners, and Mr. Benson, and Mrs. Riley. Ladies and gentlemen, As I mentioned, we have two proclamations. The first one with Mike Biggers. Mike, come on down, as they say. Thank you for being here this evening. You read this proclamation. You want to turn and face the cameras, and if you would please. Whereas on April 11th, 2014 marks the 46th anniversary of the passage of the United States Fair Housing Law, where a national policy of fair housing without regard to race, color, creed, national origin, sex, and handicap, and encourages fair housing opportunities for all citizens. And whereas the Community Development Support Association and the City of Enid continue to address discrimination in our community support programs, will inform the public about the right to equal housing opportunity, and will plan partnership efforts with other organizations to ensure every American's right to fair housing. Now, therefore, our Mayor Bill Shuey, Mayor of the City of Enid, hereby proclaims April 2014 as Fair Housing Awareness Month in the City of Enid, State of Oklahoma, and encourage our community to strive towards building a more hopeful society and recognize the importance of equal access to housing for all members of our great community. Congratulations. Commissioners, you may or may not know this. I'm from Perry, Oklahoma, proud home of the Maroons. And one of the things that I did when I was probably this tall was plant trees. And it's fun to go back to Perry, Oklahoma and see those trees that are way up there now. So with that, we want to recognize John, is it Ward, is that right? Yes. John, come on down. John, everybody in this room probably knows you except me, so congratulations, thanks for being here. Whereas trees increase property values and enhance the economic vitality of business areas and beautify our communities, and whereas trees reduce the erosion of topsoil, provide shade, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife, and are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, and whereas on January 4th, 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed a tree planting holiday to be called Arbor Day. And whereas Arbor Day celebrates the role of trees in our lives and promotes tree planting and care. Now, therefore, Bill Shuey, Mayor of the City of Enid, does proclaim April 24th, 2014 as Arbor Day, and further urge all citizens to support the community's efforts to protect existing trees and to plant trees for future generations to enjoy. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our proclamations for the evening. Thank you.
Item 5.4, consider appointments to the Fire Civil Service Commission, the Library Board, Community Development Block Grant Funding Commission, Historic Preservation Commission, and Advanced Development Authority. Joan, are you handling that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. There are several boards and commissions that we'll be addressing tonight. You have applications and ballots for each of them in your packet. The first will be the Fire Civil Service Commission. There are two separate vacancies to be voted on. The first is a vacancy to be filled by any interested citizen of the City of Enid. Mr. Michael Roberts is the incumbent for this commission, but cannot succeed himself due to charter provision. Applications and ballots are attached for your consideration. For that position, we have Pamela Ballard, Jason Skaggs, and Larry Shafton. If any of the three are here and would like to address the commission, you can vote for these at this time.
How about you first, Pam?
Mayor Shuey, Commissioners, and Manager Benson. My name is Pamela Ballard, and I've had the great pleasure of working with the fire department on many community issues over the past year or so, and I believe I have a good feel for the goals that they have within the department, and I have a master's degree in human relations with a specialization in organizational development, which is management and employee relations. And I would be honored to think that I might be able to assist them in some way as they move forward this year. So if you have any questions, or if I could answer anything you may have. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor Shuey, Commissioners, Mr. Benson, my name is Jason Skaggs. I currently work at the Garfield County Conservation District here in Enid. I have been a volunteer fireman for almost approximately 20 years. I've served on the Hunter Volunteer Fire Department and also the Hillsdale Carrier Fire Department, which I currently serve on. My father served on this board for a 6-year term back when Chief Clover was here, and I'm close to that 20 years of service with the fire departments, and would like to continue my continuation with the city of Enid, giving back. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See Mr. Jackett, so this is a vote for one to fill the vacancy. Mayor and Commissioners, while Aaron is calculating those, the next Fire Civil Service Commission vacancy is to be filled by a member of the Enid Fire Department. The acting secretary of the commission, Mr. Kenneth Helm, is the incumbent for this position but cannot succeed himself due to the charter's provisions. The only applicant is Mr. Corbin Baker.
Make a motion to accept Mr. Corbin Baker by acclamation.
Second. Motion by Mike, second by Ron. Further discussion, please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Before we go on, Joan, the new representative for the Fire Civil Service Commission will be Pamela Ballard. Pam, thank you.
There are 2 vacancies to be filled for the library board by an interested citizen of the city of Enid. Ms. Christina Donaldson and Ms. Mary Hartwick are the incumbents to this board, and both seek reappointment. In addition to Christina and Ms. Hardwick, there is Edward Sam Justice. And if we have any of these 3 applicants that would like to address the commission, you may do so. This is to fill 2 vacancies, so I need you to vote for 2 applicants. Pick that up.
Do what?
You want to continue with the next one while we...
Sure.
Community Development Block Grant Funding Commission. There are 2 vacancies to be filled by an interested citizen of the city of Enid, Mrs. Florida Enmeyer and Laura Reed.
The chair.
The gear.
I'm sorry. Are the incumbents to this commission. Mr. Enmeyer is term limited. Ms. Legier seeks reappointment. In addition to Ms. Legier, there is Carrie Villarreal and Pamela Ballard. Did you want to address the commission on this one, Pam?
I would, if, I have a lot of financial background and very interested, as you know, I was the director of United Way, work with a lot of agencies, social services within the community. I would be interested in seeing how the community development block grants are distributed within our community. Again, I'd be honored to help in any way within the community.
Emma, don't you serve on 2 other boards?
I do, yes.
One more tonight, anyway.
Beg your pardon?
One more tonight, as of previous.
Yes, yes, so,
EPA and Fire Civil Service.
yes.
This is a vote too.
Thank you.
Excuse my moral vote for showing up.
The 2 representatives for the library board are Christina Donaldson and Mary Hartwick.
The Historic Preservation Commission, 1 vacancy to be filled by our registered architect, Mr. John Mertz, was appointed to this position on March 18th this year, and has since resigned. Ms. Enid requests consideration to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Mertz to March 1st, 2017. She is the only applicant.
Make a motion to accept Kincanny Aaron by acclamation.
Second.
We have a motion by Mike, second by Tammy. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. The 2 representatives for the Community Development Block Grant Commission are Pam Ballard and Lori Laguerre. Pam, you're 2-0.
The Advanced Development Authority, there are 3 vacancies to be filled. Each one will be voted on separately. 1 vacancy is to be filled by a licensed realtor. Mr. Jim Henderson is the incumbent for this position and the only applicant, and seeks reappointment.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mr. Henderson.
Second.
Motion by Ron and second by Ben. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0.
There is 1 vacancy to be filled by a director or officer of a hospital located within the corporate limits of the city of Enid. Mr. Stanley Tatum is the incumbent for this position and seeks reappointment. Applications and ballots you have, there are 2 applicants, Stanley Tatum and Edward Herman. Would you like to address the?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, and Mr. Benson. I just want to touch base on this, and Commander. So for me, what's probably a little bit different from my standpoint is we are the only provider of VA services. So I think that is an integral part that needs to kind of coincide with the relationship that we have and the development with Vance is to continue to take care of those veterans. So that's really one of those pieces I wanted to make sure that you guys understood that exists out there for us in the community. So that's all it'll take time for unless you have other questions outside of that. All right, thank you.
One question, Mr. Herman, just out of curiosity. You've applied as the VDA representative by virtue of the director or officer of hospital. Would you be opposed to serving as any interested citizen of Enid on that same board?
No, I'm not opposed to that at all.
Okay. Thank you.
We could add his name to the second ballot, couldn't we? And it strikes me that Mr. Herman's taking time to be here. That should stand for something. And Mr. Tatum as well.
Vote for one.
One.
You wait until the results of this, because you're going to have to do this.
Final vacancy to be filled by any interested citizen due to the resignation of Mr. Rob Dillon. The successful applicant will fill an unexpired term to March 1st, 2015.
Joan, let's wait until we get the results.
Is Robert Crowcroft, Andy Holland, Roy Newton, or W.L. Stevenson, are either of the four of you here this evening? Okay.
Stevenson?
Crowcroft, okay. Thank you.
The new member of the Advanced Development Authority will be Stanley Tatum. Congratulations, Stan.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion that we add Mr. Herman to the any interested citizen ballot.
Do we need a motion, or can we just add them?
Let's make a motion. And
It can just be added. I mean, he was an applicant, but it may be cleaner to do it the way Dr. Van Hooser.
Whatever you want.
I'll second.
Who made the motion? David. And the second was Mike. Please cast your vote. 7-0. We will add Mr. Herman to ballot.
That gives us 5 applicants for the one open vacancy for any interested citizen with Andy Holland, W.L. Stevenson, Robert Crowcroft, Roy Newton, and Edward Herman. Mr. Crowcroft, would you like to address the commission?
Gentlemen, I just found a great interest in Enid. I came here 50 years ago last month, DC3, 2 stripes on my arm, and Vance Air Force. That trip went down Market Street, turned on 30th, Southgate Road, and then to Fox Drive and on into the base. I asked kind of tearfully, was there a town here? Since then, I've spent 21 years active duty, 3 years for Northrop, and 21 years civil service, and I'm now retired. I feel I have a lot to offer the Development Authority. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherman, would you like to speak again?
I don't think so.
Cast your vote for one. The new member to the Advanced Development Authority will be, congratulations.
Mr. Crowcroft, would you be, would it displease you if I added your name to a couple of other advisory committees that are forthcoming? I think you'd be a great addition to it. If, with your permission, I'll put your application in the others that are upcoming. I think there's a couple that you would find great interest.
It's a good point. Thanks, Eric. Under item 6, hearings, item 6.1, there are none. Item 7, community development. Item 7.1, Comprehensive Plan and Transportation Plan.
Thank you,
Chris?
Mayor, Board of
Chris?
Commissioners, City Management. The purpose of our comprehensive plan is to look at where we're at and identify needs and opportunities and align those with the budget to ensure that we can deliver the type of city that you, the leaders, envision for the next 20 years. The city received 8 responses to our FP. The top 3 candidates, Guernsey, MIG, and RDG, were interviewed by you on April 3rd, and we present them to Unite for your selection.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we accept, or that we proceed with the contract with Guernsey to prepare the comprehensive plan for us.
I would second that.
Motion by David, second by Tammy. Further discussion?
I will just repeat what I said downstairs, that I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves with this particular plan. We normally have done the updates on this in a 5-year schedule, which means we would do it next year. And plus, there's a good likelihood that the commission is going to change between now and next year. Plus, we know we'll have a new city manager next year. So, to me, it would make sense to postpone this update until 2015. But I know we did hear some proposals, but we could remember the proposals between now and next year.
I also would like to have had this happen on a timetable where we could have the involvement with our new city manager that perhaps would lead to better buy-in from that position, which doubtless will have a lot of impact on the city's future.
You're suggesting we don't have buy-in now?
I'm saying that the new guy has not had his opportunity or her opportunity to have their 2 cents, and it'd sure be nice to have the new city manager's input on this long-term plan. Especially if we pick someone who hangs around as long as you did, Eric.
Well, there's a cross you got to bear.
Yeah, so I actually preferred Mig's proposal over Guernsey. This ball is rolling, and although I kind of tend to agree with Ron, but there we go.
I look at it a little different. Things have changed in Enid dramatically in the last 4 years, and we've got a lot in the mill and a lot that needs to be done, and those people that need to do it will look at that comprehensive plan, and it should be updated.
Normally, I would agree with Ron, why I like to spend money, which is not, but this city is moving so fast, I think we're going to have to maybe move it up a year and get rid of ourselves here, because between the traffic and the water, and we're get behind pretty fast.
Any other comments? Mike?
David, was there any particular reason you favored the Guernsey team over the MIG?
You know, there's several reasons. One is they have done so much work already for the city that I think we'll be able to save quite a few dollars by incorporating the water plan that they've completed for us, and their knowledge of the city. I think that'll tend to save us some money, and I like the way their bid was broken out. I think all we're approving tonight is who we're going to pick, but we still have the details of what we want them to do to work out. I think they'll be very willing to do whatever we want.
I would have liked to have, the great benefit in my mind with MIG was they did have a local person on the ground here in Enid who they were associating with, and I think would have provided that same level of familiarity with our community. Envirotech and Jimmy Stallings have done a lot of work for the Enid over years, both the city of Enid and other organizations, and I like MIG's proposal.
I like that.
My thought is any of the 3 would have chosen Envirotech to help them with the knowledge that they have in this community.
Sure.
So I think they would be involved.
I think Envirotech will still be involved.
And we have the ability to look at the scope. One thing that Meg brought up, and I'm a fan of, is taking the backbone of the current plan and working from that forward, using some of that foundation, not trying to reinvent some of that wheel.
Yeah.
I think not only does it make sense and it gives some continuity, while still looking forward, but I like the idea of, if we cannot have to pay for any more than we need to get a good plan. I don't want to save $10 to not get a good plan, but I want to make sure that we're utilizing what we have already.
I didn't get the feeling that Guernsey was going to dismantle what we already had. I kind of felt like they were going to use the stuff that's already been done and build on it.
They were the one, though, that said that they wanted a completely new plan.
They did say.
Instead of just updating
They did, but
the
when we
current.
pressed it a little bit more, I think that they clarified more that they weren't going to completely redo everything that was already done.
I asked a question specifically, and they
Yeah.
they did say that they would utilize, in fact, they said they have already read it all, and they would utilize everything that's been done in the past and utilize it with the new program.
I liked the same thing about Meg's presentation too. I just felt like Guernsey's was a lot more Enid-centric and a lot more dynamic, and I agree with the fact that they already know us pretty well and have already done so much work that we won't have to redo.
They will still be working for the city of Enid.
And they've really, I mean, they've done our water study. Have they done anything else for us, Guernsey? Any other studies or plans?
The other piece of the MIG presentation that I liked was their implementation. The final product.
Who are you talking about?
MIG, the first presentation. The final product that they were wanting to put together for us, and now we're stretching back my memory maybe farther than it needed to be, especially after that 3-hour-long meeting, but the final product looked like it was a more user-friendly product. They were also the only one of the 3 presentations that showed us what the plan we received would really look like in terms of usability. They had the color coding was the part of it that sticks out most in my mind, which maybe doesn't speak that highly, but the fact that they did have an example of what that product would be to show us, I think spoke highly for maybe just the presentation itself, but I think that reflected well on them as a whole.
I did like their emphasis on, here's the plan, but here's how we implement it. We work. They work with us to make sure that, our ordinances match our plan and working forward. That was something that I did key in on.
I think an important piece of the Guernsey proposition too was how they plan to involve the public in this, and that to me is it's a big deal to me. So that was probably the winning factor for me on the Guernsey topic.
It was interesting that all 3 were using that software Mind Mixer. That
Yes.
was
So who?
kind of
yeah,
funny.
I did
Yeah.
think
Show
that
that,
was
didn't it?
interesting.
Yeah, it did.
The other piece that I think is very important, whatever we use, but I got the best feeling from Guernsey was the transportation issue. I mean, we've got to add the streets and plan into that, and they seem to bring that team from Kansas had done that several times, and they seem to bring that expertise that the other 2 kind of like, well, we'll add the transportation plan to it, but Guernsey had already thought about it. So that was the other piece that kind of tipped me over to them.
They had done one in, what was it, Stillwater relatively recently?
I believe that's correct.
And I think they all had folks who were transportation experts, so I expect that, frankly, whichever
They're all
group we
qualified.
pick has the qualifications, but.
Any other comments? David, would you repeat your motion, please?
My motion is that we put together a contract with Guernsey for our comprehensive plan.
I seconded.
Motion was by David and second by Tammy. Is that what you heard? Any other discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 4-3.
I would like to add my request for at least 2 of you commissioners to be a part of that negotiation. Like start with an initial meeting to.
I'd happy to.
Great. Commissioners Van Hooser and Zell.
Very good. Item 8, administration. Item 8.1, consider approving the purchase of land in the Ames Water Well Field in the amount of $375,000. Chris?
Thank you, sir. This is an offer to purchase land that we have in escrow that we got during the auction recently. The property is west of Ames on the blacktop. Those of you who are familiar, this is the first curve that goes back to the south, approaching the bridge across the river. This is the property in question. As you can see, we have a well here and a well here. So our infrastructure is basically in place, and both those wells produce in excess of 150 gallons per minute. So we're very comfortable with this particular acquisition. And it's our recommendation that we approve this and purchase this land.
I move we approve.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Tammy. Further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 8.2, consider a resolution adopting the fiscal year 2014 annual action plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program and budget for the July 2014 through the June 2015 program year, and authorize the mayor to submit the plan to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Stephanie?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Assistant City Manager. We had the public hearing at the last commission meeting, and at that time, we had estimated that we were going to get $454,097, but we received a letter from HUD. We're getting $430,806, but I had money left over from projects that came in under budget, which that came in at $27,058, and the difference was $23,291. So we have an extra $3,767 to add to these projects. So that's great news. I'm here to ask you to approve the plan as is and send it into HUD.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Motion by Ron, second by Rodney. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Item 8.3, consider approving a program management agreement with Lodgewell Development, LLC, the Kansas Limited Liability Company.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is one of the very last pieces for the downtown project for the hotel and parking garage. This specifically is to contract with Lodgewell to be the program manager for the parking facility. The compensation to be paid to Lodgewell for this contract is 5% of the project cost, whatever the parking garage ends up being for that project. The services that they will provide for the city are to assist the city with finding and retaining different consultants. Some of the consultants that we know will be on board will be architects and other design professionals. They will also liaison between the city and those professionals. They will develop a project or an estimated project budget. They will provide a project schedule and ensure that all of the contractors and other professionals on site adhere to that schedule. They'll review the design documents and make comments to the city of Enid. They'll provide the city with alternates regarding construction materials and things like that, the available of labor materials, procurement requirements, and things like that. They will assist the city with obtaining all the permits and other approvals that are required for the building. They will assist the city in obtaining the utilities for that structure in the name of the city, of course. They will review all contractor applications for payment along with the architect and ensure the accuracy and validity of those before they're submitted to the city. They will forecast written cash flows for the city. They'll maintain full and accurate books and records regarding the development of the property. They'll consult with the city and advise the city of all the progress of the development, attend, make presentations and such to the city as needed at different meetings. They will coordinate with the general contractor for the city of Enid, whatever general contractor the city chooses. And this may be the biggest part of this, in that we may very well have more than one general contractor on that site at the same time. And Lodgewell will act as the city's liaison and essentially supervisor on site to ensure that everyone plays well nicely together and things like that. They'll assist the city with the bidding of the project and helping create the bidding documents. They'll oversee all of the construction activities, including the contractor, subcontractor, and other professionals. They'll visit the site, administer the construction agreement, monitor the schedule and the budget, obtain the certificates of occupancy, and coordinate the general contractor's activities, the two different general contractors, or potentially two different. Secure temporary parking if necessary, assist the city with reviewing claims, review insurance from all the contractors, consultants, subcontractors to ensure that all requirements are met, both state and local. Follow and ensure that punch list items get completed on time. Deliver warranties from the manufacturers or contractors to the city of Enid, and turn over the project at the completion of the project to the city. Lots of things for them to do.
Andrea, is this the same type of duties that Carter performed for us on
It
the
is.
other construction project?
Yes.
And how does their fee agree with what Carter was paid? Is it similar, or?
It was very close. We did get somewhat of a discount, and I don't remember how much it was. It may have just been a percentage or so from Carter, because they were already in the city of Enid for the school system. So there were some discounts there. You know, they already had people living in Enid, assigned to Enid.
It's parallel to program management fees we did pay for the 2 water tower construction.
Yes.
And that's 5% what figure?
5% of the cost of the parking garage.
What is that figure?
Right now, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 million.
Right. It is. There's no, no
Is there any
set number at this point.
Is there anything in the agreement that incentivizes them to keep that total construction cost down?
There is not.
That's too
Nothing
bad.
specifically other than professional duties and
There's
professional
no
responsibilities.
bonus if it comes in under X
No.
dollars or anything like that.
No. The city really is in control of the project budget because the city will bid the project separately from the hotel, of course, because the hotel won't belong to the city. But the city really will be in charge of that. And the city will be able to either approve or not approve any change orders that come up once a contractor is selected.
Their responsibilities begin after you select the bid and the design and those sorts of things. And when you approve the bid to start construction, Lodgewell's responsibilities will start to represent us.
Where did the new market tax credits come in?
Well, new market tax credits are a separate issue, Mr. Mayor. They're running on parallel tracks, but we, by utilizing Lodgewell as our program manager, we also piggyback onto their fee schedule that they've already provided, and we have not been able necessarily to provide to retain the council to pursue those new market tax credits. So as our project manager, that was probably $300,000 savings by itself.
If you'll recall, we did execute an agreement with the same professional, and I can't remember what his name was, but.
WHW?
Yes.
Council
yes.
down in Texas somewhere, I think.
Which essentially provided that the city wouldn't pay unless the tax credits were received. And the city would not have been able to get that kind of deal without Lodgewell, for sure. But they had already been retained by Lodgewell to do the same thing.
So are we out on the new market tax credits?
No, the new market tax credits should be determined. Those are being pursued, but we're not having to make any
Separately.
upfront payments, which would be the case were we to go this alone.
Right.
That's a big chunk.
If I may, sir?
That's separate.
When it comes to the construction contract, we set the start date and the end date, and we will put liquidated damages in there.
Yes.
So we actually control that part of the cost, and it's up to the program manager to help integrate those efforts.
They will make 5% regardless of whether it takes 12 months or 18 months to build it. It's a flat 5% figure.
It is just a flat 5%. The only way for their compensation to increase is if the city substantially changes the project after construction has been bid and started. So any changes made between now and before the contractor is selected for construction, there's no increase in fee. It stays at 5%.
Okay. I'd move we approve this agreement.
Second.
Motion to approve by Ben, a second by Tammy. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 8.4, consider approving the design of the Hilton Garden Inn, Enid, Oklahoma, provided by Lodgewell Development, LLC. Chris?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just make a couple brief comments that I promise David will be brief. I know you're sick of hearing me talk about it. We're approving, this is our last opportunity to approve the design of this hotel. And this is more or less our first opportunity to approve the design of this hotel, which I don't think was how, I did not think that's how this process was going to go by virtue of the language in the master development agreement, or in large part, the motion that was made to demolish a Crest building. The language in the Master Development Agreement, Section 8.2, says that the developer shall design the exteriors of the
Mayor, I
hotel
will call
and...
point of order here. Call the question. I believe this item has been adequately discussed at previous meetings, and that further discussion is inappropriate at this point. So I would call the question.
Well, David, that's, I had to sit through half an hour.
It's not negotiable. We either need
I
to
had to
vote
sit
or
through
not.
there
Ben.
half an
You're
hour
out of order.
pitching it.
Andrea, help me, so we do it right.
Actually, we're out of order because a motion needed to be made prior to the discussion. But you
Oh, if
tell
we'd
us
like
how
to
to
correct
solve
that problem, I'd be happy to make a motion that we go back to Lodgewell and request a substantial design change to the exterior facade of the building.
We do have a point of order which called the question. The point of order can be voted on first, and then any subsequent motions. If a vote should be taken on Commissioner Van Hooser's motion, or on his calling the question, if that is answered in the affirmative, you would move to voting on the item. If it's answered in the negative, further discussion could occur.
So we have to have a motion and a second?
You have a call to a point of order, and that gets voted on first, and you don't need a second on that. It's a call for the question. It needs a vote.
And if it carries,
If it carries, you move to a vote on the actual item. If it does not, additional discussion can occur on the item.
please cast your vote. Motion carries 5-2. Now we go to item 8.4. Do we ask Chris to make his presentation, or we go
No.
straight to vote?
You're ready to vote on the item.
We have a motion and a second.
Need a motion in a second.
I move that we go back to Lodgewell requesting a change in the facade of the hotel to brick and away from ephes.
Second.
A motion by Ben, a second by Ron. Further discussion.
I just have one, we can make comments to this, yes? Or-
No, that was the call to order.
Okay, then there is no further discussion, okay.
So define the vote. I think I'm behind now.
Your vote, the vote at this point is on,
Ben's motion.
yes,
On Commissioner Zell's motion.
yes,
To go back, go ahead.
yes. The Commissioner Azell's motion, which you are about to vote on, is to go back to Lodgewell and ask Lodgewell to change the exterior of the building to all brick rather than ephes, or brick in the place of ephes. I think there's some other materials down low that are not brick.
Sure.
So to use brick instead of ephes.
And that is the motion.
Yes.
Are we ready to vote? Please cast your vote.
Mr. Mayor, I
Motion.
make a motion that we approve the design of the Hilton Garden Inn
Wait
as
a minute.
provided by Lodgewell.
I will second.
He's got to
Whoa.
announce the
I'm going to finish what we started, and then we'll get to you, David. The motion is defeated 2-5, or 5-2. 5 no, 2 in favor. Do I have it right?
Yes.
David?
Make a motion that we approve the design of the Hilton Garden Inn as outlined.
second.
Motion by David, second by Tammy. No discussion. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 5-2. Thank you, Chris. Good presentation. Consent item number 9.
I move we approve consent items.
Second.
Motion by Ben, a second by Mike. Further discussion? Eric, I have one question. The
Sir.
traffic signals on 9.1, explain the size and how they're to be mounted there at the crossing, please.
I'm going to have to defer to Jim and Chris for that answer, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, those will be mounted on the side of the road, and there'll be arms that were up over the highway.
Over the highway?
Yes,
Like the other traffic signals, basically?
pretty close, yes.
Well, most of them aren't down low, but...
I have a question. It's a push button, stop the traffic?
I believe the way we have them designed is the pedestrian will come up, select it, hit the button, it will stop the traffic with a red light, and depending on how quick they move, it will transition to a yellow light. After a certain amount of time, it will go off.
Okay, this might be a dumb question, but how long can they push that before it actually works again? I mean, as soon as that goes green, can they just punch again, go back to yellow?
I don't have that answer, sir,
Yes.
but I can find out.
You can't have a delay?
Once it clears the program, it will go back where it can be pushed and it can interact again also.
Now,
The amount of time you spent, the crossings left up to the traffic engineer, whether it's 45 seconds or 30 seconds or 60.
I think
You
he's
see-
asking
you see
is
what
how
I'm-
long we can stop traffic.
Right, that's my problem here.
Long enough to empty the stadium after the football game?
You could run that to a manual control and have an officer there, or you could.
But that's a manual control as opposed to an automatic process.
They have both.
Which
All
is
people like
slightly
the
different.
manual control.
now, can we also, I know it's not in this one, but can we piggyback in the future if we desire with a sensor that determines whether or not the traffic on 81 is being backed up
Right.
past an acceptable level?
Yes.
That's my problem, because that could just get,
Right.
It all can be set that way. You've got radar signalization, you've video detection signalization in the ground. You've got loops that are in the ground also.
So we could, I mean, clearly, the traffic has priority, especially in times of heavy flow. But in every 30 seconds, another jogger comes up, wants to cross, isn't gonna, we can prevent that from impeding the traffic.
Yes, and you could also set that for various times, and when have football games, that can be programmed.
Set the delay to what you need it to be.
And as you said, we can manually control it on those big events.
I don't see that much of that happening at a football game because you're not going to park west of Highway 81 unless you park on the trail.
Yeah. What's the timeframe on that project
That's 120 days, sir.
from the execution of the contract?
Notice to proceed.
Great, that's a good,
Nobody will die there.
do what, Tim?
I said, no, nobody will die there. Because we put up a signal.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Any other discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion-
I vote yay.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 10, we will now recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. Item 11, trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting are all in attendance. Item 12, the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 12.1, approve the purchase of land in the city's well field in the amount of $375,000.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Tammy. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7-0.
Not that we don't, want to hear you speak again, Chris, but
Item 12.2, approval of claims in the amount of $77,938.91.
make a motion approved.
Motion by Rodney,
I'll second.
second by David. Please cast your vote.
spend some money.
Motion carries.
I'm on record.
You're on a roll. 2-0. Motion carries 7-0. Item 13, we'll adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. Item 14, trustees of the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting are all in attendance. Item 15, the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 15.1, approve a program management agreement with Lodgewell Development, LLC, a Kansas limited liability company.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ben, second by Tammy. Please cast your vote.
No.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 15.2, approve a contract with Retail Attractions LLC, Tulsa, Oklahoma, to retain and recruit local retail business and increase economic development in the city of Enid in order to protect the city's revenue stream and improve the quality of life for all residents.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Tammy, second by David. Further discussion?
Mayor, I would actually like to see us amend this motion to change this to a one-year contract, because I've gotten more information out of Ricky in the last month than I've gotten in the last 18 months. And I think if we shorten up, and make the contract come due more frequently, that it would benefit us greatly.
Well, we can
Can we
make him
amend
come
the
back
contract?
as often as we like. He doesn't come as often because we asked him not to.
Who asked him not to?
This commission gave me that guidance, Commissioner, and asked that we not.
Have him show up?
We try to balance the
Not to tell us
order
anything?
task and meetings. No, we can make your life just as busy as you want it. And Mr. Hayes will come back weekly if you desire.
Would you mind if he comes by my house?
Hey, take you to dinner.
One of the,
Do you do lawns?
one of the premium services that your approval tonight will provide you is my ugly mug will appear at this podium anytime you want me to. I just want to say it's been an honor to serve. I couldn't believe it'd been 5 years since I stood here and looked at a much different council. And I made a promise.
They weren't near as good looking as.
No, sir. You're far better looking than the previous council, and nicer in most instances. I remember seeing a very stern Mr. Benson when I first stood here, and I didn't know him from Adam, but I made a promise to him that night that if he would trust our firm and allow us to do our job, that in one day in Enid, there'd be multiple developers taking down multiple pieces of real estate and bringing multiple retail tenants to your city. And that's happening right now before your eyes. And it's an honor to serve. And let me just say this in closing. I appreciate the confidence. I appreciate this council's not unanimous agreement on every jot and tittle of information that you see, but a very well thought out consensus on what's best for the city of Enid. And with that type of push and energy from the elected officials, you all know that whoever steps in Mr. Benson's shoes is going to have a big set of shoes to fill. And so your guidance and your leadership is going to be essential to keeping the momentum going, and we appreciate the the 2-year thing gives us an honored tenure here to help you in this transition time, and so we're very excited and thank you so much for your confidence. Great honor to serve you.
I do not have a problem with the additional year.
Well,
2 years.
If we don't want to see him very often, I appreciate the written updates. It's easy to email stuff to us, and I think it's good if we're kept in the loop. And when you started on that reference to a big set, I was afraid you were going to say something else.
So is that a formal motion, Ron, that we need to vote on, or?
No, I already made.
Nobody seconded it. My amendment?
Perfect. All right, let's vote.
I still think it's a good idea.
Second.
Hearing no amendment, we will vote. Do you have the motion in a second? Motion carries 7-0.
Motion to adjourn. No public discussion.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you, Mayor.
Item 15.3, approval of claims in the amount of $150,253.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mike,
Second.
second by Rodney.
Didn't
want to do it. On a roll. Please cast your vote.
Does it hurt? Does it
Motion
still hurt?
carries 7-0.
Is your heart rate going up?
We will now adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item 17, under public discussion, there are none. Under item 18, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Tammy. Please cast your vote.
I think a second.
Motion carries 7-0. We are adjourned.
Thank you for joining us for the Enid City Commission meeting. If you have any questions or comments, visit our website at enid.org.